Hello, hello. Good morning. Um, Good morning. Here we are. So, watching the mind as it tells or tries to tell us what we can and can't do. Imagine if you lived with a partner who critiqued everything that, everything, all your ideas. Imagine if you lived with a partner who said, no, you can't do that. No, you can't do that. Oh, look, here's the problem here. Here's the problem there. Well, we do live with a partner like that. It's called our mind. And our mind says, there's a lot of holes in that idea. Well, what if this doesn't happen? What? and we believe it. And we think that that's us. We think the mind is us. That we're thinking that. And here's the trick. The beginning, really, of awakening is recognizing that the mind is not you. And that as soon as we get that, and then, it kind of goes deeper and deeper, we're like, oh my gosh. Do you mean all I have to do is not listen to that crazy thinking, that crazy dialogue? That's right. So there we are. We're, personally in a partnership with a being that is actually us, that's always running a commentary of what we can and can't do. Now maybe that's not you, but that's certainly been my experience. My mind, the thought, wherever the thoughts come from, have often been very limiting. We can't do that. You can't do that. So just watch it and question who's speaking, who's saying that. If I was in a relationship, like a love kind of relationship or a partnership with somebody who was always saying no, you can't do that, fuck it, I would leave. I believe that. I think I would leave. Well, I have. So live a little, risk, practice, play with just being in the moment, follow the energy, just say yes to life, to love, to, there's no way to get it wrong. There is no wrong, right? There is no wrong, right? So here we go, just from this moment, when we recognize we're in the moment, nothing is missing. The mind races to the future. But what if this? What if that? and says, well, we can't do that. There'll be snow on the ground. Whatever. Some story of why it can't work in the future. Be here now. Don't take it too seriously. Don't take it too seriously. Just live. Be alive. Now, there's nothing really to do. And so if we choose to do some things, then we choose to do some things. If not, that's fine. It's all perfect. In a way, we've been set up in a scenario with all these beliefs that we have to show up in a certain way. They're all just beliefs. Many of them from our Christian faith, or even our Hindu or Muslim or yes, from the Buddhist faith, even from our 12-step program, there's a lot of have-tos, you know. Now, when we're in a, I think there's something where we take the advice of people around us when we're in danger, you know, when we're, and we'd like to get out of it, or when we're really stuck in the beliefs of the mind, you know. And there's been times in my life when I just couldn't see. There was so much noise that I couldn't see, and I needed a process. I needed a program. I needed to move to a higher ground, and that's where, you know, the 12-step program saved my life, because I was so deep in the mind, so deep in my in the noise, the self-hate, the mind had created, you know, and I had perceived. So but what happens though is we move into an awakened place, you know, a place where we're free of complaint, and we're free of judgment, and we're free because we see that it wasn't true. We see that it wasn't true. We're like, oh my gosh, look at that. You know, before we had blamed this person or blamed that person, or, you know, said, oh my gosh, she broke my heart, or he broke my heart, and all of that stuff is just, it's just neurotic bullshit, you know, but we believed it. But in the moment, it's not true. When we're right here, right now, you know, and that's why the beautiful piece in the 12-step program that was written so many years ago, you know, really said, you know, be here now. It said, you know, just for today was a way of bringing us into the moment. And easy does it, you know, and live and let live. Those were all freeing statements, you know, and so, you know, having some sort of a program to guide us out of the dark place, I believe is important, yes. And as we lift it up, we'll start to see that it wasn't true. The inner dialogue about life wasn't true, and isn't true. And then we start to identify our thoughts, and we start to be able to say, hey, that's crazy, you know. Life is for me. Life is an adventure, you know. And we move out of that victim place. We moved out of that victim place into freedom, and we can be and do and have whatever we want on the planet if we're free, and the energy goes that way, you know. It follow the energy, follow our intuition. So it's all possible. Everything is possible. We say yes and trust life. Trust life, you know, because it's the old thinking, you know, the old dialogue that says, no, it's not safe here. You know, I have to be careful. Well, I have responsibilities, you know. Who will look after my stuff? All bullshit thoughts, okay? Just, okay, you guys, love you. I'm going to read this little reading. What day is it again? I never remember. September the 8th. September the 8th. And look, the book opened right to that day. Imagine. That must mean something. Can't trust that thought. No, can't trust the thoughts. The meaning-making machine. Anyway. Thought for the day. This is from the book, the 24-Hour Day book. I love this little book, and sometimes he's a little off, but you know, because but he's really at the level where he's helping people to pull out of the ditch that we've been living in, the ditch of fear, you know, of and get us back on the road of love and life, you know. And so sometimes it's just very basic, this book, sometimes. And then sometimes it's very juicy and alive. So let's see what he's got for us today. September the 8th, thought for the day. Another of the mottos of the 12 steps or of AA is but for the grace of God. But for the grace of God. Once we have fully accepted the program, we become humble about our achievements or our achievement. And that's true. I mean, when people say to me, oh my gosh, you've been sober all those years. Oh, congratulations. Oh, it's a joke. You know, it really is. I can't own that. You know, who are they congratulating? You know, there is no me in that sense. You know, I recognize that. I didn't do that. From the ego standpoint, I didn't do that. You know, yes, the body showed up. You know, the journey, you know, even the gift of wanting to awaken, or the gift of being pulled towards something more, it wasn't from me. You know, so I when people say, oh, wow, good for you, you know, I'm never sure what to say. It's just like, oh, okay, thank you. But not really. So here we go. It's just grace. It's a gift. I see it as a gift in the sense that I in a bigger sense, because we are all one, then we're all responsible. Thank you. You know, thank you. And thank God, because God is one. You know, thank all. It's beautiful. Then it says, we'll be humbled about our achievement. We do not take much credit for our sobriety. We do not take much credit for our sobriety. That's a fact. When we see another suffering alcoholic in the throes of alcoholism, we say to ourselves, but for the grace of God, there go I. I've said that a million times, you know, when I see others stuck in their pain, stuck in their belief, afraid to move. I see myself. We do not forget the kind of people we were. Remember the woman that we left behind us. We remember the man and the woman that we left behind us. We're very grateful to the grace of God, which has given us another chance. Yes. Am I truly grateful for this grace? Yes. Yes. Meditation for the day. A consciousness, it says, of God's presence as one who loves you, makes all life different. It's interesting because it's so easy to objectify God, to say God is separate and that God loves. God is love. So isn't that God loves? But from where most of us, our thinking is at, we separate everything, so we have to see it that way. You know, that's why you know, many of us over our lives have needed images to portray God, or pictures to portray God, you know, concepts to portray God, because it's very difficult to, with the mind, almost impossible to imagine God as one, as that we are, and yet we can drop past the mind and then see. And this is, you know, the consciousness of God's presence. So, one who loves you makes all life different. Yes, He is love. The consciousness of God's love promotes the opening of your whole being to God. It brings wonderful relief from the cares and worries of your daily life. Relief brings peace, and peace brings contentment. Try, it says, to walk in God's love. So, consciousness of God's love. This is God's love. We live in God's love. And we're just not aware that we are God's love. And when we get that, then, you know, and the thing that, it isn't that it grows, it's just that our mind has covered it up with our fears, with our neurosis, with our concerns. So we've covered it up, and like it says, the sunlight of the Spirit shines in when we move away guilt and shame and fear and wanting we awake. So it isn't that it grows. It says, relief brings peace. And peace brings contentment. It said, walk in God's love. You will have that peace which passeth all understanding, and a contentment that no man can take from you. Yes. So when we realize who we are. I don't know how else to tell you. When we realize who we are, we'll have that peace which passeth all understanding, and contentment that no man can take from us. I feel sure of God's unfailing love and care for you and for all his children. There is freedom and serenity in those who walk in God's love, held safe in his loving care. So just so that we know, it's not selective. It is, we're in it. It's not selective. Pick you, not you. It's us accepting and allowing and opening up and letting go into that. We go to our natural state. Prayer for the day. I pray that I may walk in God's love. I pray that as I go, I may feel the spring of God's power in my steps and the joy of his love in my heart. Oh, you guys. Love you, love you, love you. So, a couple of quick things. Starting next Monday, we're going to have a meditation. So, I think that having some of us who are on this path get together on a regular basis is part of it. How do we see ourselves if we're not in reflection of others and others who are on the path, or others that can point us to us and help us see ourselves. So that's what Monday night is. Monday night, 7:30, here in my home. You're welcome to come, and also on Zoom and Facebook Live and YouTube. So let's begin again our Monday evenings. And love you guys. Yeah, that's it. Be here now. Don't take it too seriously.